At the beginning of 2020, we looked out onto what was going to be a fantastic year of films made by some of the best creators in the industry. But before long, the pandemic came and so many major film releases were delayed until a time when we could return to theaters. Now, at the beginning of 2021, with vaccines on the way and a new slate of release dates to look forward to, let's take a look at the year to come and see what the world of cinema has in store for us. This is Scripter Screen. Welcome back to the show, all you lovely listeners. My name is Christopher Kitchen. I am the co-host of Scripter Screen alongside the other most handsome co-host
Oh,
of all
hello.
time.
It's me.
Zach, how are you today?
Oh, I'm doing pretty good. I'm doing pretty good. How about you?
I am doing great. Zach, as our resident film expert, we come to you for all of our questions, comments, and concerns in the industry. Please tell me why do we have to wait every day for brand new news before we can record a podcast? Because it seems to us like every day something little happens, something's reported.
It's like you're getting at something. Like something happened right before we started recording.
If it wasn't obvious enough, this podcast, this episode specifically, we are talking about the year in film of 2021 and why we didn't have a year in film in 2020 because nothing came out. And it just seems like
that's not
every
true.
day there's something new.
That's not true. Some movies came out. Some movies, some good movies, some disappointing movies that probably needed more time in the oven.
What are you talking about specifically?
Oh, I don't know. I couldn't say it. I couldn't make.
Drop a name. Drop a title.
I don't know. Let's not throw people under the bus, even if that bus is going in reverse.
What about an entity, a studio, if you will?
Ooh. Well, my cellular service hasn't been doing so hot lately, and I think the fault falls under my cell phone carrier, AT&T.
Can we talk about something? Because that only happened in the state of Florida, apparently, like in compared to like the rest of at least the rest of the continental U.S. as far as what I read. And like South Florida, I think it's anywhere from like Palm Beach County, Broward County, Miami-Dade, and even Monroe. They all got screwed.
Yeah.
And I was working at the time, so I couldn't really, manage my phone. I was busy. But it was ridiculous, man. AT&T. You're screwing with the studio system. You're screwing with our cell phone service. Occasionally, you screw up my internet when we're trying to record a remotely pandemic-safe, improved podcast.
Yeah.
So what the hell?
Yeah, AT&T.
Oh, God. You know what I love is, I don't know if you're familiar with Last Week Tonight with John Oliver, a billion-time Emmy Award-winning show.
Oh, I love it. It's such a fantastic show.
His show is on... It airs on HBO, and when AT&T bought Warner Brothers, and obviously HBO is a property of Warner Brothers, he was talking shit about, I forget every week he talks shit about something, and then he's like, and you know who owns them? Our parent company, AT&T. Hi, Dad, you suck ass, Dad. Something like, oh God, I love that man.
Yeah, John Oliver is an absolute delight anytime. I can't wait until he comes back with whatever he's got in store for 2021. But speaking of 2021, we took our time. We combed through the calendar year to see the movies that are coming out and compile a list of ones that I think we're the most hyped for. That being said, today happens to be January 21st, 2021. And beside the fact that it happens to be the 21st day in the 21st year of the 21st century, a little other crazy thing happened. Right before we started recording our episode about the movies coming out this year, where we had compiled a nice long list of dates for specific movies, we got a delay. We got a delay for a major motion picture release. No Time to Die, the next James Bond film, which was scheduled to come out April 2nd, 2020, has now officially been pushed back to October 8th.
April 2nd, 2021, though, I thought.
What did I say?
I think you said 2020. Well, we understand what you said.
2021.
Either way.
Yes.
Either way. October 8th, oh my God. Already.
Yeah, that's pretty far back. I mean, I get it.
Listen, I can honestly think, I'm not very sure where we'll be, 4 months from now, 3 months from now, actually, now that, January is just about over, or it will be over by the time
already,
the podcast.
Right?
Yeah, right. That's just the way time works. But at the same time, I'd rather them push it back instead of me getting what I want on streaming services because it's more convenient. The experience is super important. That is my firm belief.
Absolutely.
But then again, I've also seen movies in theaters during the pandemic. So, and I've had good experiences most of the times, excluding, dinner and a movie situation.
But yeah, so I think that being said, we're gonna go through our list, and tomorrow the sun may rise, and all these movies might be pushed back a month or 2 or 7 or delayed until 2022, and I hope not. But if by the time this episode airs, none of these dates make sense anymore, we're sorry. We're only human.
I would like to say, for the record as well, these are movies that we're super excited for. And if you want us, you want to tell us what movies you're excited for, feel free to reach out to us at www.scriptorscreen.com or anchor.fm/scriptorscreen. Find us on our social media pages like Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and YouTube. That's at Scriptorscreen. And just leave us a comment. What do you really want to see in 2021? What do you want to be delayed further so you can have the ultimate cinematic experience? I'm talking like no Black Widow this year, guys.
Oh
I want that 5 years in the future. What did I text you earlier? I said, "Oh, you heard they extended John Wick to 2222.
Yeah.
a whole 200 years before we see that movie."
Yeah.
And then you know what? Keanu Reeves, he gets the greatest back-end deal ever because it'll be adjusted for inflation.
And you know
over
what?
the span of 200 years.
Keanu Reeves, he's got the market there because he's immortal. He lives forever, and
he just won't die.
He won't die. He won't age. It would be a little concerning if he wasn't just so dang charismatic. But I think with that, we should go ahead and get right into it. And I'm I have right here, I have a calendar via thank you to Wikipedia is giving me a calendar of all the American film releases for 2021. And, again, not to say that some of these movies aren't, the movies that we don't mention aren't going to be good, but just the ones that we particularly are looking forward to. So the first one we have coming out February 12th, 2021 is Minari, which is going to be, it was a picture from A24, which
what a great studio.
One of the best, honestly.
Name one bad A24 film.
Give me a second. Let me look up their...
You're going to look up their roster? I'll tell you what, this company is super... It's fantastic. They came out just this last decade. 2012 they were founded. And already they've kind of cemented themselves in as like one of the biggest voices for like independent filmmakers. It's or like low budget films, so to speak. I would say nothing more than, let's say, like $20 million. And that I could be wrong.
It's one of those things that I see like A24 and I'm like, oh, I'm in for something good.
Yeah. I mean, all right. I'll go through some of their filmography, right? You have films like Enemy, The Captive. You have Tusk from Kevin Smith.
I would say that is a bad movie.
Well, fans of Kevin Smith like it. Ex Machina, Amy, what else? The Green Room,
movies,
The Lobster.
Movies by Ari Aster,
There
The
you go.
Lobster,
Moonlight.
Yorgos Lanthimos.
Moonlight won Best Picture.
That is true. What's the Safdie brothers?
Yeah, you had Good
Both,
Time on there.
and Uncut Gems.
Uncut Gems, which was awesome. Super good movie. Adam Sandler,
And,
one of his best performances.
The Lighthouse and The Witch, Robert Eggers. Mid 90s, which was I believe Jonah Hill's directorial debut. So like A24 just one of the best production studios right now. Anytime I see that logo, I'm like, ooh, I'm gonna enjoy this. But Minari, it is written and directed by Lee Isaac Chung, and this one I've seen the trailer for, and I saw it and I was like, I wanted to see this movie so bad. It has a very honest, down-to-earth feel to it. It looks so relatable. It's a drama film about a Korean American family, the Yi family, who has moved to Arkansas in pursuit of their the American dream, and it just kind of looks like a slice of like real life captured on film. It has, if you watch the trailer, it almost has like a candid feel about it. Especially with the little boy. I don't know the young actor's name, but the little boy, there's something about it. It evokes a very very honest and realistic feel to it. Steven Yeun from The Walking Dead, he is the lead actor in this, and he's already getting tons of Oscar buzz for it.
He looks really good in this movie. I gotta say, I didn't watch him in. I mean, I never watched Walking Dead, to be honest with you. But I am familiar with him in some of his like other smaller film roles. He was like Okja,
Yeah.
Sorry to Bother You and things like that. And so I like him as an actor. I think he's a cool guy. I'm excited to see this. Although I know fans loved him in Walking Dead. And we had like the whole goodbye moment when his character passed. I guess spoilers. It's been a couple years though.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I watched Walking Dead for a while because I was big into the comics of it. After a while, I gave up on it because it got a little too different from the comics in a way that wasn't great. But we're not talking about that. But he went out exactly how his character went out in the comics, and for his part in that series, he was always good. And this movie, it looks so good. It's got Steve Yeun, another actor in it, Yo Yun Jung, who I believe is playing this grandmother, one of their grandmothers who comes to live with them, and she's foul mouthed and she's funny, and it looks like a very heartwarming, just real depiction of kind of what is becoming like a more normal, average American family of the 21st century.
I can appreciate that. I don't know about you, but I feel like as I get older, I'm not that old, but I feel like as I mature in life, stories like this, more like home, hearty, kind of like family oriented stories, those are things that I'm way more interested and attracted to. Like, I feel like they have more of an impact on me and stories that I want to tell as a filmmaker.
Right.
Than some of these other things. This is something I'm super excited for.
Yeah.
By the way, the name of the boy is Alan Kim.
Alan Kim?
He stars as David.
Okay. And I mean, if for anyone listening, if you have not seen the trailer for Minari, please go watch it. It will win you over.
I hope so. Next on our list is a film that I wrote down personally. March 12th, 2021, we get The King's Man by 21st Century Studios, formerly 21st Century Fox, before bought by Disney. This is the third installment in the Kingsman film franchise. These movies kind of came out of nowhere for me personally. I didn't think I saw a trailer for the first one. I just saw that this movie came out, introduced us to Taron Egerton. Hold on, am I getting? I feel like I
Taron Egerton, yeah.
Edgerton. Okay. Didn't want to butcher his name there. What I want to do with our series of synopses today is kind of reveal some things that I too didn't know about in films until I read these. So the synopsis for this film is as follows. As a collection of history's worst tyrants and criminal masterminds gathered to plot a war to wipe out millions, one man and his protege must race against time to stop them. So I was like, wait, is this like time travel? Or are they racing against time as in like they just have to move as quickly as possible in the year? I think it takes place during the First World War is what the trailers kind of give us.
Right, yeah.
But super great cast.
Oh yeah. I'm looking at the cast list
Ralph
now.
Fiennes.
Ray Fiennes.
Isn't that Ralph?
No, it's Ray Fiennes.
You know what's funny is that you're not the first person to correct me on that. I've been corrected by a lot of people recently.
But let's see. Ray Fiennes, Gemma Arterton. Here I am.
God, Zach, you said that wrong.
Here I am correcting you, and then I'm messing up. But like Rhys Ifans, Matthew Good.
Can I say something about Matthew Good? I just finished watching season 2 of The Crown recently, and Matthew Good's character as Tony, her Princess Margot's, late. No, I don't want to say late husband. They're both dead at this point. Rest in peace, I suppose. Great actor. I loved him in Watchmen. Loved him in this. So I hope that I'll love him in King's Man.
Yeah, and I mean, he's like my second favorite live action Ozymandias. So
there you go. Is Jeremy Irons your first?
Yeah.
He
great. Did so good. He did
do so good.
But let's see, Tom Hollander. All right. Not Tom Holland.
Can I tell you something about Tom Hollander?
Yes.
Is he? I mean, to me, I look at him and I'm like, this is like discount Martin Freeman. If you can't get Martin Freeman, you get Tom Hollander in the role.
Budget Martin Freeman.
Yeah, I really do. But I love Tom Hollander. And what was this role that he did? I think it was called In the Loop a few years ago with James Gandolfini.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, it had a huge cast. But I remember Tom Hollander played this role of like this just politician who just didn't know how to be a politician. And then he was being quoted in front of like a live audience about the situation in Britain. And he's like, my people once told me, this is difficult, lemon difficult. What a great line. That film was nominated for an Academy Award.
But
for its writing.
Nice. But we, keep looking, some of these movies have huge cast, but like I'm looking at this Daniel Bruhl, Djimon Hounsou, Charles Dance. Is this like Tywin Lannister? I mean, come on. Aaron Taylor Johnson, Stanley Tucci. It's gonna be an awesome movie. I remember when I saw the trailer for this one, I was actually kind of interested because I liked the first one.
Yeah.
I didn't hate the second one, even though it was kind of stupid.
It was like more fun than the first one was like kind of awesome.
Right. Like at least the first one, I'm like, they had cool gadgets, but at the same time it was like kind of sort of maybe grounded.
The first one was definitely a lot better to watch in the theaters too, just because, we got that whole Leonard Skinner in the church scene and everything. That's a very good scene. Yeah, like and that, I mean, he had the right sound system. It was like amazing. The right visual quality, amazing.
Yeah, and I mean, the second one had in it on its side of things, it had Elton John in a giant feather suit running around and kicking butt. So that was pretty funny. But Matthew Vaughn, he's a really good director. Just looking down the list, we got Stardust, Kick-Ass, X-Men First Class, and the previous two Kingsman movies. But when I saw this, I was like, oh, wow, this is a very cool twist. That's not something you see a lot with like, a film franchise where they'll just like throw it back way in the past and just do a very detached entry in a series.
Yeah, I don't think that was a bad idea. I feel like a lot more series or franchise, intellectual properties could benefit from doing something like that versus always. I mean, then again, we get your biggest complaint with Star Wars. Then, where was this before, and why wasn't this there? But I honestly think that things like this could make like good setups. Don't necessarily need continuations after the fact, but like it's a fun way to stay within the world of a franchise and also do something slightly different while keeping the fundamentals the same.
Right. And, I think it's interesting, World War One, that's something we're seeing getting more and more attention as the years go on, because I feel like for, so long, World War One was something no one wanted to really relive or shine a light on. But, in recent years, we've gotten like the first Wonder Woman, we've gotten 1917. We've got this new movie, The Kingsman. There's that one directed by Peter Jackson, They Shall Not Grow Old.
Yeah.
I believe I'm getting the name of that right.
No, you did. Like it was kind of like a documentary.
It was a documentary where he colorized the black and white footage and had like sound effects, like Foley experts like recreate what it was sounding like at the time.
I mean, you go back a couple years, and we also get a movie like War Horse. Yeah, 2011
that's right. War Horse.
That was incredible. That movie was so good. My AP World History teacher in high school showed that to the class. He's like, I usually don't show certain movies to students just because it could be a waste of time, but this movie I feel like did a really good job of kind of displaying a lot of the ons going on
right
during this time.
So, all right, I guess we can keep moving forward a little bit. We'll skip No Time to Die because now that's an October movie.
Yeah.
And move into a filmmaker who I think is very near and dear to both of us.
Oh, I love this man. On April 23rd, 2021, we're expected to get Last Night in Soho from Focus Features. Story by Edgar Wright, written by Christy Wilson Cairns. I feel like I didn't get Cairns. And directed by the one and only Edgar Wright. The
man himself.
This is one of the greatest filmmakers that's living right now, I think.
This will be a very interesting thing for him, because I believe this is his first movie that he has directed that he has not written.
Or he had a co-writer with him on this one.
Right.
And remember, he was expected to direct Ant-Man originally, and he co-wrote that with someone else as well.
I just feel like, maybe he's too much of an independent, type of filmmaker.
I honestly, I really enjoyed his last film, Baby Driver.
Oh yeah,
that was great. And that's the one that came after. Well, I don't know when World's End was. What year? 2012, 2014. Here, let's see. The World's End.
I think that's.
The World's End was all right. That was 2013, right? I don't know when Scott Pilgrim came out in relation to that. I think Scott Pilgrim was a year or two before then.
By the way, I don't know if you know anything different from me, but according to my sources here, and I don't mean to upset you, but it looks like Last Night in Soho is an October release.
Where's your source?
Let's see. This is... We go down here. Previously scheduled for April 20th is scheduled to release on September... Wait.
October 22nd, 2021.
This is from Deadline Hollywood, yep.
It's October 22nd, 2021.
So,
dude, oh my God. You know what's funny is that I have my information page open. Ladies and gentlemen, this is podcast editing at its best. I have it open right next to it, and I have where I highlighted April 23rd. The next line under says October 22nd. Well, you know what this means? My birthday month of October...
it's gonna be packed.
It's gonna be packed with like movies every other week, assuming they follow up with these dates that they're playing.
Usually, I'm the movie birthday boy, but this year it might be you.
I know. It's not. I almost got the Batman on my birthday too, like on the day.
Yeah.
And then they screwed me, but now I get Dune, so I'm not complaining.
I am complaining because I was supposed to have Dune. but yeah, Edgar Wright, terrific filmmaker. I love the show Spaced. It's one of the funniest television shows I have ever seen. obviously his Three Flavors Cornetto trilogy is legendary.
I want to ask you, which one's your favorite one?
Oh,
I can tell you, mine for sure is Hot Fuzz.
Always it might be Hot Fuzz. I like Shaun of the Dead a lot because I like zombie movies and stuff. Yeah. But Hot Fuzz, I feel like it's so, like, I feel like all three of those movies, like, it's a filmmaker just in absolute control of their art. But I think it might be Hot Fuzz. I think Hot Fuzz is one of the funniest scripts I've ever, seen. But they're all so good. So
for me, it's like Hot Fuzz was also the first one of the three of them I watched, and then I did Shaun of the Dead, and then years later I would do The World's End. I feel like The World's End, a lot of people don't like it as much, but it's really grown on me.
It's really good. I think a lot of people, I feel
like a lot of people can relate to it is the problem, and they don't want
to. Yeah, you might be right there. You might be right.
A quick synopsis before I feel like we move on, because not a lot has been shown about this film yet. They just wrapped production last year, right before the pandemic too, I think. They've been in post since. So it's an upcoming psychological horror film. That's super interesting.
That is new ground for him.
I want to say. And it focuses on a young wannabe fashion designer played by Anya Taylor-Joy, who's just coming off of her success with what's this chess show that everybody's been watching?
Queen's Gambit.
Queen's Gambit. Everybody's rave reviews across the board about this show. I expect big things at the Emmys next year.
Yeah.
But it's about a young wannabe fashion designer girl who mysteriously enters the 1960s to encounter her idol. That sounds super. What is this, like a Midnight in Paris kind of vibe?
Midnight in Paris meets the Neon Demon.
Okay, there you go.
Meets Suspiria.
Oh, and speaking of Suspiria,
hit him.
The next film in our list has nothing to do with Suspiria. Sorry, but May 21st, 2021. We're expecting. We don't know.
Well, let's just say, I'd like to play a game.
It's Spiral from the Book of Saw, Lionsgate, written by Josh Stolberg and Peter Goldfinger, directed by Darren Lynn Bousman. Dude,
this was kind of a surprise announcement.
Super surprising. Chris Rock, Samuel Jackson, what? Like Chris Rock's had a great year in the last. I want to say the last year and a half, between the comedy specials. And then now, he just did Fargo, and then now he has this, dude. And at the same time, we didn't even have any idea what this was about until maybe the last image in the trailer. Here's the quick synopsis. Working in the shadow of an esteemed police veteran, played by Samuel L. Jackson, brash detective Ezekiel Zeke Banks, played by Chris Rock, and his rookie partner, William Schneck, played by Max Minghella, take a charge of a grisly investigation into murders that are eerily reminiscent of the city's gruesome past. Unwittingly trapped in a deepening mystery, Zeke finds himself at the center of the killer's morbid game.
Let me tell you something. There is one thing I like better than a sequel, and it is a sleeper sequel. One that kind of creeps in under the radar, and I think that was like the big spoilers real fast, for anyone who cares. But that was kind of the big, swerve on the movie Split, was that, oh, shock and surprise, it's a Unbreakable sequel.
Yeah.
And I think,
that definitely played on to its success just a little bit.
Yeah, I personally,
good movie.
I'm not a huge M. Night fan. I acknowledge like his earlier films are good, but
oh, you don't like Avatar?
Dude, there's parts of that movie where I'm like how?
I don't know.
But anyway.
You gotta love that stuff. I was actually watching an interview with, what's his name? Dev Patel, saying that that's probably one of his biggest regrets in his career is doing that film.
I don't blame him. But, so, but it's cool, like, when these kinds of things happen, that, a movie comes out and it's like, surprise, this is a sequel to something. You thought the Saw franchise was done, but it's not. Admittedly, the Saw franchise had, I think, outlived itself by a long margin.
They definitely made a lot of money for Lionsgate, and also, I don't know, how many of them did you watch? Did you watch all of them?
I have seen like the first like 4. So James
I feel like I saw the first 6 of them.
James Wan directed the first one. And then this guy, Darren Lynn Bousman, he directed 2, 3, and 4.
Okay.
And so it's kind of like, a return to form. The person who's had the biggest fingerprint on the series. But like after a while, it's just torture porn. And that's what I'm really hoping changes with Spiral, and I think will change, is that the fact that it's more of a detective, story. Maybe that means it'll be a bit more interesting.
I hope so. I mean, listen, they got you with this good cast, and hopefully they deliver with exceptional story.
Mm-hmm.
That's all we can hope for. And hopefully they don't push the date back. Actually, I don't really care. I should probably say this right now because I'm talking too much about the dates, but they can push the dates back whenever they want to or see fit, as long as we get the most perfect viewing experience and it's safe to do so. That's what matters, I think.
Right.
So. I think that's the biggest thing.
For sure. You don't want to force a movie to come out before it's ready, and
before the world's ready too.
Before the world's ready, and then it doesn't live up to people's expectations, and people can't really understand what the people are saying in the movie, and you do a bunch of interviews where you defend yourself, but you just kind of come across as petty. You don't want that.
Yeah.
But, whatever. We're, not talking about anything specific. Moving on, tentatively, for May 7th, 2021, we have Marvel Studios' Black Widow.
Finally.
Story by Jack Schaefer and Ned Benson, written by Eric Pearson, directed by Kate Shortland. And this movie is
I don't think it needs much introduction.
I wrote, it's the long-awaited, much-delayed return of the MCU to the big screen. Obviously, right now, we are in the middle of WandaVision on Disney+. It is streaming now. I think there's a new episode coming out tomorrow.
Is tomorrow already Friday? Oh,
I know, right? And so, Black Widow was supposed to be our big, start into Phase 4, and obviously that's not going to happen now. It's going to be, the second or third entry into it. But this one's going to be really cool. Set in between Captain America Civil War and Avengers Infinity War, Black Widow sees Natasha Romanoff return to Russia to reconnect with her family while dealing with a new threat in the form of the villainous Taskmaster.
Ooh, the Taskmaster.
Taskmaster, one of the cooler, kind of low-tier Marvel villains. He has photographic reflexes, so he can watch someone fight and then fight just like them. And we've seen in the trailers where he's got Black Panther claws and a
Spider-Man
flips and Captain America shield and a Hawkeye bow, and he can do the same punches as Black Widow.
Yeah, I mean, listen, he looks cool. I'd like to see where it goes. I think, what was it, for a while we thought, oh, what if that's just Ronin or something like that? It could be anybody. Who knows? Yeah,
it's gonna be pretty cool, I think. And
I like that they're laying some groundwork, though. This film is introducing new characters played by Florence Pugh, Rachel Weisz, David Arbor.
So, Florence Pugh, this is interesting. I know it had been speculated for a while that she was basically, because, spoilers, Black Widow's dead. This is, obviously takes place before that, but there had been rumors that Florence Pugh would be taking over as the de facto Black Widow.
Yeah, the mantle.
Right.
Dude, I'm for it. Let me tell you something. I fell in love with her after
Midsummer.
Well, all right, so in the same,
you said this is a real stressed out person
in the same period of maybe 2 months, I watched Midsommar, or Summer, however it's said.
Midsommar.
Fighting with my family. And I also watched Little Women, the new one she did from Greta Gerwig. That one, a fantastic performance by her. Also, she's super cute. And so
I watched a wonderful thing of like, I guess she had a pet cactus and it had a growth on it. And there's this compilation of like Instagram stories of her trying to deal with this growth on her cactus. It's very funny, very relatable. But honestly, Florence Pugh, I don't know if you
heard... going for her.
Absolutely, and I don't know if you heard about this, but let me just confirm. She has been confirmed to be reprising her role in the Hawkeye series.
I'm for it. So, I welcome it.
That's going to be really cool. So it's kind of like our confirmation that yes, she will be a mainstay going forward. But let's see, we got David Harbour, fresh off Stranger Things as the Red Guardian.
Not to mention, I feel like he's also had a bunch of other kind of smaller roles in his career until Stranger Things, or like kind of surrounding it, which is super funny. Like seeing him in Suicide Squad for like the brief 10 seconds, and then seeing him.
You know, he's in Quantum of Solace.
Oh, is he?
Yeah, like in a.
Oh man!
A lot of times he played like a kind of a government type person, but of course he was the new Hellboy, and I know that movie was terrible, but yeah, he's a really good actor, and in this movie he's going to be kind of like Russia's answer to Captain America,
which was awesome.
It looks really funny because he's like not in shape at all. He's got the big giant beard.
Yeah,
from the trailers, it looks like they bust him out of a gulag, which I think is pretty funny.
Red Guardian, if you will.
Yeah. And of course Rachel Weisz as another older member of the Black Widow group,
Red Room Association. What do they call that? That faction,
the Black Widow program, I guess.
Scarlett Johansson and the Black Widows is the name of the band.
And but you know, Rachel Weisz, I just we were talking about this the other day, but I just rewatched The Lobster, and what a absolutely hilarious, just unique film. And she is,
you say that movie's hilarious. I think that movie gives me the creeps, but it does so in the most interesting way. I've rewatched it like 3 times now, and it's like, oh my god, it's so uncomfortable. It's so good.
There's some absolutely hilarious moments in there, and she does such a good job in it. And But yeah, that's, obviously I listed a few of the Marvel movies because, hey, I like superhero films and I want to see all of them.
I will say though, the difference is that Disney will not release this on Disney Plus. If they do, they know what they're missing out on. Yeah. Missing out on that moolah. You know what I'm saying? You just can't. So I'm happy that they're pushing it back. Safety first, Disney. Come on, safety for your wallet, safety for the people. Let's remain calm around here.
Yeah. So let's keep moving forward. Keep moving forward through it.
This next one is about May 2021. I think is the newest kind of date.
See, I'm looking. I'm confirming these things when I see them coming on the list, and I don't see this one.
What's your source, man? It doesn't matter. I don't want to keep these people waiting. These folks, they waited long enough. This one's The French Dispatch by Searchlight Pictures, formerly Fox Searchlight before it was bought by Disney. Story by Wes Anderson, Roman Coppola, Hugo Guinness, and Jason Schwartzman. Written by and directed by Wes Anderson. Dude, the next project. I think this is his first one since Isle of Dogs. First major film. He had 2 short films, I think, that came in the last few years. One of them,
Wes Anderson, he's just such a fun director.
You know what you're getting when you go into one of his movies.
Yeah,
you're getting meticulous art and production design,
symmetry,
the same cast of characters. Like
listen to this. That's what we call a repertoire.
So, the returning collaborators are Liev Schreiber, Edward Norton, Willem Dafoe, Saoirse Ronan, Jason Schwartzman, Angelica Houston. And then Houston. Excuse me.
But like
then,
the cast,
dude,
like I know, like with all of his movies, there's always so many people. But like I'm looking at this cast, and it's Benicio del Toro, Adrian Brody, Tilda Swinton, Lea Seydoux, Frances McDormand, Timothy
Chalamet,
Jeffrey Wright. Like, oh my god, and like Grand Budapest Hotel was like one of my favorite movies of the past, like, last 10 years.
Yeah.
So like, and all of his movies are just, they're always such a blast to watch.
Can I tell you something? This film, I don't know the relationship with his prior films, but this film only has a recorded budget of about 25 million, and he has this whole star-studded cast. I think he's able to do it for so low comparatively to, all these AAA and Triple B actors and things of the sort. For this low, in comparison to what these guys are probably used to be paying on some of their other films, like, just because they want to work with this director.
Yeah,
they
absolutely.
love the producing team around Wes Anderson. His projects are interesting.
If I was a working actor,
which you are, SAG carded and all, hire Zach, please.
Please. But if I was big into film, and I had the chance to do a Wes Anderson film, I think I'd jump at it, because
I would do background even. I would not care. Just, let me be on set. Let me get somebody coffee.
Yeah, so definitely this one is going to be very, very fun to watch. And yeah, I think that's, and I don't know anything else to say about it.
It's exciting. It was I was hoping to get it last year, and we didn't, but life goes on. So next on our lovely list,
we're back with A24.
Another interesting A24 piece. Tentatively June 30th, 2021 is The Green Knight, written and directed by David Lowery.
Yeah, this one, based on an Arthurian myth.
The Green Knight tells a story of Sir Gawain, or Gawain. How would you pronounce that?
Gawain.
Gawain.
I'm sure some English person will correct us. And
it's good. I butcher the language often. Played by Dev Patel, King Arthur's headstrong nephew, who embarks on a quest to confront the eponymous Green Knight, a gigantic green-skinned stranger.
So the trailer for this was wild. It was one of those things where I was like, oh my god, like, visually striking. I have a soft spot for fantasy. And I think this could be a very, very just
it could be like a surreal experience.
Visually striking film. David Lowery, director.
I want to know, how familiar with his career are you?
Pretty familiar. Ain't Them Body Saints with Rooney Mara, Casey Affleck. I remember back when that came out, I absolutely was like, I have to see this movie. Pete's Dragon. Was that the new Pete's Dragon with Robert Redford? It is.
Did you watch A Ghost Story?
No, I did not.
Let me tell you something. This film was only made for about $100,000, according to a lot of people. It made like 1.9 million in the box office. Super, super like intimate, small story, starring Rooney Mara and Casey Affleck again.
Okay.
Filmed almost on one location, and full of like long takes, silence and just like ambient noise and things like that. Oh my god, super transformative. Like, this was it took me forever. I wanted to watch this movie originally when it came out, but it took me so long to get to it. When I did, I was greeted with like this 4x3, like TV box versus like a widescreen like of an image, and just like this really down to earth story about like kind of life after death.
Yeah,
and the experience that spirits or things may go through. Oh man, dude, it kind of warmed my heart in a way.
That's interesting. And then he did The Old Man and the Gun back with Robert Redford. That was
good old Bob.
And he is currently I guess on tap to direct Peter Pan and Wendy, which is going to be a live action, I guess, interpretation of Peter Pan for Disney.
Oh, this one is by Disney.
Yes.
Oh,
Disney's
fun. Disney.
Peter Pan and Wendy.
He's co-writing it with Toby Hallbrooks.
So, that could be something I like, these directors that are proven talents in their field.
Jude Law is going to be playing Captain Hook.
I can see it.
I actually don't think so. I saw he's casted in, but it doesn't say as to who he'll be playing. I could be wrong.
Well, you never know.
I don't know.
So, moving back away from the prestige dramas of A24, we're back with the fun action of Marvel Studios with July 9th, 2021, Shang-Chi and the Legend of the Ten Rings. This is going to be cool. This is going to be the first MCU film with a lead of Asian descent, a cast that is largely of Asian descent, and an Asian director as well. Movie is directed by Destin Daniel Cretton, and bring in martial arts into the MCU.
I don't know about you. This cast super interests me. I want to signal out one specifically, Awkwafina.
Awkwafina. Oh my god.
She surprised the hell out of me with The Farewell. That was a fantastic film by Lulu Wang.
Yep.
Loved it. Super great. I'd watch it 1,000 more times, given the time.
Yeah, Simu Liu is going to be Shang-Chi. Awkwafina. Tony Leung is going to be our new kind of like modern day interpretation of the Mandarin. I don't think he's going to be going by Wen Wu, not the Mandarin, because and again, I'll say this for anyone who was salty about how the Mandarin was depicted in Iron Man 3, nobody wants comic book accurate Mandarin. He is an Asian stereotype.
So let me ask you something. This is a clarification because I don't even know, because the Ten Rings existed in the first Iron Man,
right? If
we remember, as like the organization and what we think is some part of Eastern Europe or the Middle East,
right.
And so I don't realize those are two very different regions. But he's talking about the guy speaking Hungarian, so I have no idea what else to think.
I'm not sure. It'll be interesting to see how they're
related to this version of the Ten Rings,
right? And how this whole thing plays out, because Marvel does this clever thing where they tie things in from old movies, and they create this illusion that they had a plan all along. When they made Iron Man 1, they said, "Oh, make it the Ten Rings. Ten Rings is Mandarin, and Mandarin." Was originally an enemy of Iron Man, so if we get there, we get there. If not, it was just there. And now they want to do Mandarin again, and so they go, okay, well, we'll include the Ten Rings. But two other people, that I want to point out in this cast. One, Ronnie Chang from The Daily Show.
I love his stand-up, man. He's a funny guy.
Funny dude. And Michelle Yeoh from Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon, and a bunch of other movies. I'm totally blinking on what was the other movie she did that I absolutely...
Funny enough, it's actually one of my girlfriend's favorite movies, Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon. That, and she was just forced to watch it as a child, and so I just kind of make fun of her. I'm like, so that's like your favorite movie? You watch it all the time? I don't know how into
Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon, dude. Yeah. I love me some Muya wire fighting. It's great. That has one of my favorite fight scenes of any movie.
Really?
Yeah. Oh, of course. What am I saying? She was in Crazy Rich Asians. God, I feel like an idiot.
Another really great movie.
Yeah.
Ronnie Chang was also in that movie, and so was Awkwafina.
Yeah, I know. Weird. It's like Hollywood only has like a few go-to people. It's like whenever they need like a very like professional and like authoritative Japanese person, they go to like Ken Watanabe.
Yeah. But what's interesting is
come on, Hollywood. You gotta hire, like Beat Kitano. Come on.
Let me tell you something, because when Disney was doing the hiring from for Mulan. I heard on a podcast with one of the actors that was on the film that he almost didn't get the part because he had to prove what like region of China like his family comes from, because they only wanted to hire very specific like Chinese actors versus like actors of like Korean descent or Japanese descent that could speak Mandarin as well, or like that knew of the heritage of China, you know. So I'm like, you know, there was I guess a double-edged sword on that regard, because it's like almost saying, we're hiring you because you're a specific type of Asian, but you're also not the type of Asian that we need, and it's kind of, you know,
unfortunately,
like,
Hollywood is all full of that. The big one I always point to, there's a terrible episode of, I think it was like Walker, Texas Ranger from like the 80s, where they had George Takei, a Japanese man, playing a Chinese like drug kingpin or something.
Yeah.
And it was just like, it's so cringy, it's so bad.
George Takei is national treasure though.
Yeah. And again, you know, George Takei, who played Hikaru Sulu, they cast John Cho as Hikaru Sulu in the J.J. Abrams Star Trek series. Again,
I liked John Cho though.
John Cho did a good job, and I'm excited to see him portray Spike Spiegel in the live-action Cowboy Bebop series.
Wasn't he just injured on the set?
Yeah, he like broke his leg. But again, we're kind of getting off the track. Also, I don't know if the live-action Cowboy Bebop is going to be good. I hope.
Oh yeah, because it's Netflix's deal.
Listen.
They don't know how to adapt things all that well.
Netflix is playing with fire.
Their track record for anime adaptations is a little
I'm just saying, they're playing with fire with one of my favorite animes of all time. So I'm watching you, Netflix.
I'd say let them take certain liberties, just not every liberty ever.
We'll see.
It's an adaptation.
Moving on. October 1st. It has been a long time coming, but October 1st, 2021, we are
the eve of my birthday.
We are getting Dune
by Legendary Entertainment.
Based on the novel by Frank Herbert, written by John Spates and Denis Villeneuve, and Eric Roth, directed by Denis Villeneuve.
Dude.
I am so freaking hyped for this movie.
Dude, I mean, come on. This is, I welcome this pushback. I call it pushback. It is this postponing of the release, because you know what? If we were actually going to get it when we did, in December of this last year, it would have only been like, 2, 3, maybe up to 4 months before, we got like the first trailer. We got the trailer during the Tenet release, right? That was
oh my God.
September, August, so to speak. I forget. A very forgettable movie. Tenet was. But I'm glad that we have this kind of this longer period of time. We can build some more hype. Hopefully the world will stabilize a little more, and then we can get like the experience that we were made to have. If there's one movie that I hope that does not get pushed back, it's Dune.
Let me tell you, I'm gonna be there day one for this movie. I'm so hyped. For anyone who doesn't know, Dune, it's a science fiction series. It's about set in the very distant future where there's a galactic feudal system where great houses, almost like Game of Thrones, basically vie for power of these planets. And there's the planet of Arrakis, also called Dune, where they cultivate this substance called spice or melange, and it's like the most valuable asset in the entire universe. And the main family, House Atreides, is assigned to watch over this planet, basically act as stewards for it, and they have taken it from they're kind of like the rival house, House Harkonnen, and I don't want to get too far into it in explaining it, because a lot of the stuff that in the trailer kind of already explains it, and honestly, I think the trailer might give a little too much away, but it's really cool. There are these people who live out in the deserts. Arrakis, by the way, giant desert planet. But there are the people who live out in the desert called the Fremen. There are giant sandworms, and it's just it. I am so hyped for this film.
I couldn't agree more. I am excited. It gives me more time to attempt to read the book that maybe I may not find time to do, but I will try.
That's okay. I think if anyone can translate it to a digestible manner, I think Denis Villeneuve is the man to do it. He is such a talented filmmaker. Hans Zimmer handling the music. He composed the version of was it Eclipse from Pink Floyd? He composed that specifically for the trailer.
Let me tell you what, though. I think David Lynch would disagree with
David
him.
Lynch.
I don't know.
Here's the thing. People like to say, "Oh, but David Lynch because he did the first one." David Lynch never read Dune. David Lynch refused to read Dune. I don't care about the David Lynch version.
He's an interesting filmmaker.
Absolutely,
he's...
I like David Lynch films. I don't think David Lynch was the right person to make this film.
Yeah,
but
we'll leave him be.
The cast is amazing. Timothée Chalamet, Rebecca Ferguson, Oscar Isaacs, Josh Brolin, Stellan Skarsgård, Dave Bautista, Zendaya, Jason Momoa, Javier Bardem. Like, that is so many good actors.
Okay, so here's the thing. You know how earlier I talked about French Dispatch having like a lot of AAA to like triple B kind of like mainstay actors versus, and that's $25 million budget versus this film. $165 million budget with all these names. And granted, a lot of that is also used for VFX and things of the sort. But you got to think like Timothée Chalamet, Josh Brolin, Oscar Isaac, Zendaya, Javier Bardem, all these people, they're not taking $1 million paychecks. They're definitely getting their hands full.
Again,
I would want to
say. But then to work with someone like Denis Villeneuve, and actually, this is only the first of two parts. It's going to be a two-part movie, I guess, series. Part of the reason that Denis Villeneuve was so outspoken against AT&T when they made their big move to streaming for the year was that the return on this movie may not justify a second film. And the closure of the story he is not creating, but retelling.
Does that worry you that like maybe he would have wanted to finish it a different way if he didn't get the opportunity to make the second film?
Well, I think that it would upset me, but I think kind of like we talked about in our last episode, since Warner Brothers is basically treating each of these movies like a critical success.
Yeah.
I think that gives me hope that we will see Dune Part 2.
Well, we got to think about it. It's critical success in terms of the payouts for the actors and the above-the-line crew versus what does that mean for their own investment.
I would hope Denis Villeneuve is above the line.
No, he is. What I'm saying is that like it's just their own money that they have to worry about now that they've made all these promises to pay these people millions of dollars and things like of the sort. Like, you think they might reevaluate it, be like, okay, well, where can we cut? Because the one thing is they're going to be losing money regardless. So they're either going to take out, money from their own other entities that AT&T owns. They're like, okay, well, maybe we could shut down 100 other call centers and, we'll readjust. I mean, that's what happened to Disney. They bought Fox and then the next day they laid off like 20,000 people, and that's the thing. They had to show some sort of profitability in certain sectors and whatnot. And I don't know. I don't know.
I am hoping beyond hope that that this film does well, that we get our second part, because I know that Zendaya said that she, I think, only filmed for like a week, but that tells me that I kind of know where this movie's going to leave off in terms of where in the book, and then with the second one, it'll be covering, probably the last third of the book or something. But it's gonna be great. The trailer, I probably watched half of all viewings on YouTube were me. So
that's a lot of cheese, guys.
That's such a good trailer, though, and I think I've gushed enough about this movie. We can kind of move forward with technically move back, but
that's true. The next one, tentatively October 15th.
Oh no, October 8th.
Oh, it moved to October 8th?
Yeah.
Or am I? Oh wow, it moved back.
No. I'm talking No Time to Die.
Oh yeah, the latest and greatest of the James Bond movies that Netflix tried to buy for how much? Was it like $200 million?
They were like, I got a paper clip and some pocket lint.
No, who was it? MGM was trying to sell this movie to any streaming service for $600 million. And then Netflix lowballed them for like 200 something million. They're like, yeah, take it or leave it. And I'm like, dude, that is a ballsy move.
But
No Time to Die.
No Time to Die. This is going to be cool. Directed by Cary Joji Fukunaga. The fifth entry in the Daniel Craig James Bond.
Fifth and final for Daniel Craig?
Probably Spectre was going to be the final one. And then, they said, but
then it wasn't.
But Daniel, money. And he said, oh, right. Everyone likes to quote Daniel Craig in that one interview that he did like the day after he finished filming Spectre. Or they're like, when's the next one? He's like, I'd rather cut my wrists than do another one. But it had been like, I don't know, like a day or a week after he had finished filming. And it's like, yeah, the guy's tired. Give him a break.
Yeah. Let me tell you something. I want to talk about this director, though.
Yeah.
Cary Fukunaga. Cary Joji Fukunaga. He directed the entire first season of True Detective.
The best season of True Detective.
I don't know. Season 3 was also pretty good.
I did not see it yet, but I heard it was not as good as season 1.
I hope season 3 very like near and dear to like my heart in terms of like
that
excellent
was with,
quality
Mahershala
television.
Ali, right?
Yeah.
Nice. And then he did Beasts of No Nation. He was originally attached to direct it, and then had to kind of step away from it. But so this cast, wonderful. We got Daniel Craig as Jimothy Bond.
I was going to say, who would have thought?
We've got
came back.
Léa Seydoux returning as Dr. Madeline Swan. She was Inspector, and she
Death Stranding, the Hideo Kojima game.
Inglourious Bastards, the first scene.
There you go.
We've got
great actress.
Obviously, we got Ben Whishaw as Q, Naomi Harris as Eve Moneypenny, Jeffrey Wright coming back. I think it's the first time he's been back since Casino Royale as Felix Leiter. Ray Fiennes as M. Christoph Waltz reprising his role from Spectre as Ernst Stavro Blofeld, who was obviously James Bond's longtime arch nemesis, and a few new faces popping up into Bond. Main bad guy, main villain of it, Rami Malek,
coming off his Oscar win from Bohemian Rhapsody, the well-deserved Bohemian Rhapsody, of all of its critical acclaim.
Movie wasn't amazing, but he did really good.
I watched it a couple
Safin,
times, I'll be honest.
Let me tell you about these James Bond movies, at least these new ones. They're not honest. At least their advertisements are not honest. And when Christoph Waltz played Blofeld in Spectre, he had gone under another name. I can't remember. They had said, "Oh, his name is this." They pulled a Khan from Star Trek Into Darkness, where they gave him a fake name to throw people off the scent.
They called him John Smith.
They called him I remember in all the advertisements for the movie and all the stuff. And I think, at least in the beginning of the film, they call him Franz Oberhauser.
Yeah.
And it's revealed that he was, in fact, Blofeld. And so it's possible that Rami Malek as Safin could be just another new villain, because we've had in this film series, we've had Mads Mikkelsen. Yeah, Mads Mikkelsen as Le Chiffre. We've had Javier Bardem, and we've had Dominic Green, I think, is the third antagonist, the one from Quantum of Solace, the boring one. Anyway, but I see like the way they've been showing Rami Malek in the trailers and stuff, and I'm calling it now. This dude is Dr. No.
Yeah.
The first James Bond villain. Something about it. He's just I get that feeling. He's got like when they've shown him in the trailers, he almost looks just like him.
Yeah.
And I think he's got like that same kind of.
Put your money where your mouth is. Make a bet.
How
Do
much?
it.
How much?
I
literally typed
Daniel Craig toenails.
Jesus. I literally typed in Dr. No into Google, and the first thing that came up was a picture of
Rami Malek.
And Dr. No side by side. Yeah, I know it. He is definitely Dr. No. If I'm wrong, you know what? Maybe it's for the better. But
honestly, I'm excited. This trailer looks good. I want to give a special shout out to Billie Eilish, who needs no shout out from me, but that was a good song.
Yeah,
she's also the youngest performer to ever do a James Bond song. She's only like 18
at the time.
I think she did the song when she was like 17 or something like that.
Yeah, and then it's a good song. I know who's the one who did the last. Sam Smith, I think, did the last one. For me, Adele's Skyfall is like as good to me as like Goldfinger.
Didn't she win like both a Grammy and an Academy Award for that song?
Probably.
Like her, yeah. I want to say she did.
But that's right. This movie also going to have Lashana Lynch in it. Coming off of Captain Marvel. But she's playing like another 00 agent who's taken over while 007 James Bond has been in retirement.
Yeah, or it was supposed to be in retirement at least.
I think it's going to be one of those things where they are kind of like at each other's like necks for a while, but then they kind of...
You're 00,
they have they have to come together to defeat Safin, who's probably Dr. No. And then... Ana de Armas is playing Paloma, who I guess it's the the next Bond girl. I hope she's not relegated to just being like a prey for James Bond.
Right. I think now he's kind of like engaged in not, I don't want to say marital affairs with Léa Seydoux' character, but they're kind of like they left off on a weird note.
But also, like, they've shown in the trailers where he's like, "You've been keeping secrets from me" and stuff. So
yeah,
I don't know. It's like I always like flash back to that scene from Austin Powers. I think it's like the second one where he finds out his like wife has like been a robot the whole time, and he's like crying.
She was a fembot.
Yeah, and he's like I loved her, and he's like, wait a minute, that means I'm single again. I feel like it could, like James Bond, it's the exact same thing. But no time
Tune in next time for our Austin Powers discussions. Don't miss them. I can't wait.
But No Time to Die. It's gonna be cool. Some very cool looking shots in that thing. But now we can get back on schedule with the next October film.
The Last Duel by 20th Century Studios, based on The Last Duel, a true story of trial by combat in medieval France by Eric Jagger. Written by Ben Affleck and Matt Damon and Nicole Holofcener. How do you say her last name? Holofcener.
Directed by Ridley
Scott.
It's time to duel.
Dude, The first film that they've written together since Good Will Hunting.
That won them the Oscar. Yeah, that's particularly that's one of the things that has me really excited for this film. It's like they could we be seeing the next like Good Will
Two Bostonians in the 14th century France.
And one of them.
How do you like them apples?
I'm sorry. If you go and you look at the set photos of this movie, Ben Affleck looks like Fred Durst.
That just cracks you up, doesn't it?
It's so funny looking. He's got the chin strap going on.
The one that looks the best in all the set photos is Adam Driver. Adam Driver's in this film. He looks awesome in his suit of armor and in like his long black hair and everything. He looks great. I'm excited.
Let's getting into this movie. And Ridley Scott, obviously, he's a great director and he's really good at his period pieces. Obviously, Gladiator is a fantastic film, but this film centers around on two people, Jean de Carew, French listeners. If I am butchering these names, I don't know. Get me with a guillotine.
And Jacques Legris.
Jacques Legris. They are ordered to fight to the death after Carew accuses Legris of raping his wife.
Ooh.
So
let me tell you something. Do you feel like they're going to do like French accents or no?
I don't know. Probably not, because if I think of like Ridley Scott period piece, I think of Gladiator, and they're all doing the transatlantic like British accent, which is fine. Like that's fine. I don't need to do. Listen, I loved the series Chernobyl on HBO, but everyone in Chernobyl in that series who is supposed to be Russian has like these thick English accents, and of all people for the lead, they choose Jared Harris, who is the most English sounding person ever born.
That's true.
So accents, I don't care as long as the movie is good. It's the last legally sanctioned trial by combat in the history of France. That's gonna be pretty rad.
I look forward to it. It'll be cool. I'm excited, but I'm not gonna lie, Zach. I think the last film that I have here, in terms of my picks, I think I'm a little more excited for.
Yeah, this one. When I heard what it was and who was in it and who was helming it, I got pretty excited.
Dude, all right. 2021
when's it coming? Yeah, do we even have a release date for it?
So Netflix came out. All right, so this film is being distributed by Netflix, and they just released like their films in 2020, which like a brief screen of the two characters in a part of the film showed up, but they didn't associate it with a day or month. So I can only assume it's later this year, although it's still filming, funny enough. So I don't know how they're going to get that turned around. It might be delayed, I'll be honest. Anyways, I don't want to hold it up. I don't want to, put it up in the air anymore. It's Don't Look Up, written and directed by Adam McKay, starring Leonardo DiCaprio and Jennifer Lawrence. Adam McKay is probably my favorite filmmaker of the last 2 decades, with the most transformative career. Split in the middle between that. His earlier works, being a writer on SNL, then having this amazing collaboration and involvement with Gary Sanchez Productions and Will Ferrell, working on Anchorman and Step Brothers and Talladega Nights, and then later with the other guys.
Let me ask you, what is your favorite film by Adam McKay? Let's say, what's your favorite of his earlier
Pretty Big
films?
Short?
Yeah.
Okay, so I would definitely say probably the first Anchorman.
Really? Okay. I love The Other Guys. I think The Other Guys is so unbelievably funny.
The other guy, I agree 1,000%. The thing is, I don't think he has a single bad film. I even like Anchorman 2.
I mean, I think, they're Anchorman, Talladega Nights, Step Brothers.
Dude, I want to say like this guy is a fucking genius. Billy,
and then
blur the shit out of that and that one too, because I cannot tell you how much I love this guy.
Yeah,
he's incredible.
Such a good director,
and then he subtly changes his career.
Yep.
With the release of The Big Short, from just doing regular standard kind of comedy satire to just shoving the greatest pieces of what I like to refer to like his liberal propaganda films. I mean, but he's a proponent of corporations and the government is corrupt and people should know about certain information, and these characters and the stories that he's been telling since then are just a direct reflection of that. But it's the execution. He maintains his comedy upbringing and standards and implements them in these films in such amazing ways.
The Big Short was such an entertaining film to watch start to finish. But man, by the end, I was so depressed by the end of that film.
I want to say I continue to watch that film any opportunity I get to. I think I've seen it at least 100 times now. Yeah. I continue to put myself in that situation.
All the celebrity little cameos, like Margot Robbie or Anthony Bourdain, Selena Gomez.
Yeah.
I mean, that movie was fantastic. Vice.
Also, before I get into Vice, I just want to give a special, acknowledgement to Steve Carell in that film. I know Steve Carell's first kind of big breakout in serious filmmaking was with Foxcatcher.
Yeah, but dude, another fantastic film.
I know, but Steve Carell and his character in Big Short, dude. Oh my god, I believed it. I was in it.
He's this guy that just he's tapped into something and no one's listening to him.
I know.
And
dude.
Everybody. I was gonna say everybody in Big Short brought their A game. Christian Bale, Brad Pitt, Ryan Gosling, dude. Ryan Gosling playing just like this uber douche.
Yeah, I'll tell you what the character or the real life person who that character is based off of. He said many times I feel like they really played me as like a bad guy when I don't feel like I'm as much of a shithead as it may seem like it, which is kind of funny. But when moving on to the Vice, funny enough, when I first watched Vice, I don't know if I liked it as much, but then just like Big Short, I watched Vice maybe 10, 20 other times, and I'm like, oh no, this movie is also it is just as good in terms of a follow up in this new style of film that he's making, these like political economical dramas about the way that the world is being shaped and what people do when these situations kind of came up. We get the Cheney presidency stripped of all
vice presidency.
Well, no, come on.
Yes,
come on.
I know.
Oh man, dude.
But
way to open a fucking window.
Speaking of which, Christian Bale in that movie, it's one of those great Christian Bale transformations.
Yeah, unhealthy transformations. Let's put a little.
He put on a lot of weight for that role as Dick Cheney, and Sam Rockwell as George W. Bush.
Sam Rockwell, oh dude, another fantastic actor.
Yeah, Amy Adams as Lynn Cheney, Steve Carell as Donald Rumsfeld.
Dude,
oh my god.
So yeah. Actually, Amy Adams is going to be in another film he has coming up soon. I forget the title of it, but she was announced to be leading another one of the films he has in development. Not to mention his spin-off show.
Adam McKay?
Adam McKay has, I think his next film after this that was announced a while ago, Amy Adams is like the lead role. But great filmmaker. He had a show that he was producing for HBO with Jesse Armstrong called Succession. We've mentioned it before. It's fantastic.
He also did Eastbound and Down.
Oh, there you go.
An episode of Eastbound and Down, which very funny series. But yeah, so what is Don't Look Up about? Because just hearing about this is oh,
I realized we didn't even give the synopses.
Right, so do it.
Okay, so it's an upcoming political satire disaster comedy film. I
just love that combination of words.
And it's about two low-level astronomers, Leonardo DiCaprio and Jennifer Lawrence, attempting via a media tour to warn mankind about an asteroid that will destroy Earth. Dude.
Yeah, it says...
This story sounds so far-fetched,
but I love
can
this.
only
It
imagine.
Says, who, DiCaprio and Lawrence, who portray two low-level astronomers attempting via a media tour to warn mankind about an asteroid. It's
like what? I gotta tell you that you get like a brief glimpse of them like walking out of like this military style plane as like it's as if it's the first stop on their tour. Mm-hmm. It's like just maybe 5 seconds long, but like Leonardo DiCaprio's face, he looks so scared about what is to come,
right?
And Jennifer Lawrence is just kind of like deadpan, like in face, like let's do this shit. And
listen,
the lights make it look like she has red hair or something like that. Like they just do not look like the people that you want on your TV screen saying, "Look out, the Earth will blow up." You'd be like, "Who the hell are these guys?"
But again, we've been saying it, this whole episode, but like this cast: Jennifer Lawrence, Cate Blanchett, Leonardo DiCaprio, Meryl Streep, Jonah Hill, Timothy Chalamet, Ariana Grande.
That's interesting.
Tyler Perry, Ron Perlman, Chris Evans,
dude.
And I realize it's an Adam McKay film, so some of these people could just be like kind of like bit little, like they show up, they say something funny, they leave, but God, it's just Kid Cudi. Kid Cudi is in this movie,
dude. I don't think it's gonna be a bad film. I don't. So they are still filming is the thing. They're supposed to be finished maybe in February, which is why I was surprised for them to release like even some sort of imagery of the movie. I know some people do that. Like Batman, they only shot a third of it,
right?
Or not even, and they came out with a full trailer.
I
don't know what kind of if that is a good idea or not, but hopefully they can fulfill the promise of 2021 while upholding the quality standard. And
I'm sure they will. I also made a short list of, and I quote, other films I'm interested in but either haven't seen enough to form an opinion or gauge their quality. And it's just other movies that we don't even need to get into, but just thought I'd just list them off. There's Coming to America, that's coming to America. There's a sequel to Coming to T.O. America.
Thank you for that distinction.
The movie with Eddie Murphy and Arsenio Hall. The first one is a comedy classic. The second one, trailer looked funny. I think it relied a little too much on kind of repeating jokes from the first movie. And it's made me think of like sequels in general, in that like, okay, hey, you've got a golden pass to take the characters that you've already established and take them into a whole nother direction. And I just hope the whole movie isn't just a victory lap, patting themselves on the back for the first movie. It's like, if I want to hear jokes from the first movie, I'll watch the first movie.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, it's good for a couple, like
a little callback here and there, but
especially because it's been so long.
In the trailer, they show like all their characters that Murphy and Arsenio Hall play in the barbershop. They show a lot of the old cast members, and that's fine. Like, I'm very excited to have all that. But we'll see how it goes. I'm cautiously optimistic. Then March 26th, we got Godzilla vs. Kong that recently moved up. And
didn't it move up like 3 months?
Yeah.
As per our last podcast.
So I'll say I'm a King Kong purist. Peter Jackson's King Kong is my King Kong. Like,
dude, that was a good one.
It follows the original to a T. They make Kong a very complex character rather than just a big old monster, which I kind of feel like this iteration of Kong is, especially because, like, when I think of Kong, I think of Kong on top of the Empire State Building, right?
Mm-hmm.
And this Kong is literally bigger than a city. So, like, I'm sure it'll be fun to watch them.
It's
punch
a big
each
mega
other.
block. I'll tell you what. I actually have a really awesome poster of both the first King Kong in this franchise and the first Godzilla. So I'm going just to take these films because they gave me really cool artwork on my wall.
Listen, I saw Godzilla King of Monsters, and I liked all the monster action in it, so I'm sure it will be fun to watch.
Too much human, not enough monster.
Exactly. Here's the thing. I've learned, I think my weakness for shitty movies is giant monsters, because I actually really liked Rampage with The Rock.
Yeah?
Because there's some pretty awesome giant monster fighting.
What did you think of, what was Guillermo del Toro's, I don't know, why am I forgetting
Pacific
about this?
Rim?
Pacific Rim,
and
then the sequel, Pacific Rim Uprising.
So I love Pacific Rim. Pacific Rim Uprising I thought was harmless. I said it's better than a Transformers movie. And I get to see some cool robots fighting some giant monsters.
Actually, I'll tell you what, the animation in Transformers always gets me. I love the animation.
And also it had John Boyega, who is, I feel, very underappreciated for the effort he puts into his films. But coming on down the line, April 26th, Mortal Kombat, probably gonna suck, but it's gonna be violent and gory, and they're gonna have the fatalities. So I'm down.
Yeah, the set photos just came out. It just looks.
At least they, the cast is diverse, and I'm sure.
Good luck.
July 16th, Space Jam: A New Legacy. Chris, let me ask you. Is there enough of an age difference between us that you didn't grow up with Space Jam, or were you lucky enough to have Space Jam?
I never cared about Space Jam, I'll be honest.
God.
And I loved Looney Tunes. I watched Space Jam maybe like twice. I'm very familiar. I've seen it. But I'll tell you what, though. It's just that era of basketball players, Michael Jordan,
Charles Barkley.
Yeah, that's definitely, I didn't find an appreciation for basketball until, let's say 2004, 5-ish. And then by that time, Miami Heat stole my heart. Enough time for Dwayne Wade to be, like a hero. And then later on, we would finally get the big three. I feel like this movie was announced when LeBron James was on the Heat.
I think that's when whispers started going around. But yeah, hey, LeBron's in this movie. I can't imagine that Michael Jordan won't make an appearance.
Yeah.
And if they could get Bill Murray back, if they could get Wayne Knight back,
I know people would crucify me for saying this, but I want to say LeBron James is probably statistically as good of a player as Michael Jordan, except for I feel like Michael Jordan has more rings than LeBron James.
I don't
in that number
pay attention to sports much, but I like the Heat and I like LeBron. So
LeBron is not on the Heat anymore, guy.
I know.
He plays for
the
Lakers.
That's why they were two separate thoughts,
bro. Guy, get it right.
Moving on, August 6th, we get The Suicide Squad.
Great. The behind the scenes thing, footage that they showed a couple months ago looked good, but we'll see.
What I like about this one is that apparently
it's James Gunn.
It's James Gunn, first of all, but apparently DC and Warner Brothers gave James Gunn the go ahead that to kill any of the characters.
Yeah, and he also said this is probably the biggest movie he's done and had the most freedom on in terms of any film ever that he's ever worked on. So
that's pretty great. So I mean, it'll be interesting to see. Anything's going to be better than the David Ayer Suicide Squad. So I'm down. I didn't write this one down. I actually just remembered this one. So it's coming out August 27th. I think it'll be on Disney Plus, and it is directed by Peter Jackson. The Beatles Get Back.
Dude, I just watched the little preview that they released.
Yeah, so
on Disney Plus. Looks great.
They found, I guess, they had 55 hours of footage from the recording of the Let It Be album. Yeah. And so it is just kind of like a documentary showing the Beatles in their element.
He's been doing great, kind of going back and restoring all these. I think
the Hobbit trilogy kind of burnt him out on big budget movies, and I think he needed some small scale stuff to make, just to wind down, which is
he can be more intimate with the footage too. I feel like, because doing something like this still requires like a certain sense, but I also feel like it allows him to, you're right, take a step back and just really kind of appreciate the thing without much oversight, because you can't really screw up the story of the Beatles. It's only told in the way that they allowed it to be told.
Yeah, and I mean, what's interesting is this is covering the recording of Let It Be. Mm-hmm. There's a documentary called Let It Be that came out back in the day, way back, I think in the 70s or the 60s, by the Beatles, about the creation of the Let It Be album. So it's going to be interesting to see how much crossover there is here. Yeah. I know in the trailer they already showed a scene that, I mean, it's just a famous moment in the Beatles' history, but was featured in the Let It Be documentary from years ago, which is the famous rooftop concert where they had the police called on them.
Yeah.
And I'm a huge Beatles fan. I took a college course on the Beatles, and
that's fun.
Yeah, so I'm definitely super hyped. I
want to ask you.
Yeah.
Are you familiar with like the early like film works, like Hard Day's Night?
I have Hard Day's Night on DVD. I love Yellow Submarine. Help. Yes.
I want to tell you, after watching Hard Day's Night, I think I solidified like George Harrison is my favorite Beatle
of the Beatles. Personally.
Yeah. I think the way that he plays his character in that just made me think like, dude, like.
Yeah,
that's just great.
That movie's great. My dad saw the Beatles in concert, so
Oh, really?
Yeah,
that's awesome.
That's a story for another time. When we review the Beatles Get Back, I'll tell that story. But he obviously I inherited my love for the Beatles because of my parents, and so I'm very excited about this movie. If you ever get a chance to watch Let It Be, the Beatles documentary of the Beatles.
Watch it.
There's a great scene of George Harrison getting shocked by his microphone.
Yeah.
And then a tech comes over to test it, make sure it's okay. He's like, yeah, it's good. And then he's like, okay, thanks. And he grabs it again, and then he gets shocked again. So, wonderful stuff.
So good.
Let's see. November 5th, we got Eternals. Used to be The Eternals, but then Justin Timberlake said, get rid of the
Drop the. Yeah.
So,
just Facebook.
But this one, big cast, Angelina Jolie, Salma Hayek, Kumail Nanjiani, who is now just the most buff man.
Beefcake. Dude, awesome transformation.
Yeah, Richard Madden, just tons of people. I don't know what's going to happen with it. This is kind of like their most like out there film, I think. So
since Guardians of the Galaxy the first.
Yeah. So it'll be interesting to see what happens with it. What do we have next?
The next one, which I just added very recently, which we forgot about, was Ghostbusters Afterlife, the true follow-up sequel to the original series.
Yeah, sorry,
versus
Paul
the one we got a
Feig.
couple years ago. Yeah, sorry.
Sorry, Paul Feig, your film was not good.
But the only reason why I want to bring this one up, not to mention it kind of brings back a lot of the, as much of the original cast as it can, but it's because the director of this film is the son of it's Jason Reitman, the son of Ivan Reitman.
That's right.
And recently, I guess an article came out saying that they viewed the film together, and his dad says to him like, "Oh, I'm super proud. Like this was fantastic. Like he loved it."
It looks, from the trailer, it looks pretty good, and I mean the cast is good. So we got Carrie Coon. Who she was in
Fargo season 3.
Yep, season 3 of Fargo. She was in
Avengers Infinity War.
Yeah, she was Proxima Midnight. She was in that I think that show The Killing. Finn Wolfhard, obviously, Stranger Things and It.
We got one Paul Rudd.
Paul Rudd. I think he's kind of like the teacher almost. And he knows about like the Ghostbusters from back in the day, and he's like a fanboy of them.
Yeah.
But it looks like, Bill Murray, Sigourney Weaver, Dan Aykroyd, Ernie Hudson, Annie Potts, they're all back. I hope they get Rick Moranis to come back.
I think he's slowly coming back to certain film TV roles if
rumors
are true.
He came back for that one advertisement from
for Chime or no, what was the thing?
Ryan Reynolds.
Mint.
It's Ryan Reynolds. Wasn't it his gin? His
No, I don't think it was the gin. I think Ryan Reynolds has also been doing Mint, I think.
Okay.
Mint Mobile or some weird green thing.
Well,
it's green. Yeah. is what I don't know.
So you got back. I think, it could be good. I like the first Ghostbusters. So
I think he's also going to be in the new Honey, I Shrunk the Kids.
Oh, nice.
Rick Moranis. Yeah. I think he's finally making his comeback. And very welcome back. It's unfortunate he got hit in the face like a couple months ago in Brooklyn. You read about that?
Yeah,
dude,
I did.
That sucked.
Man.
How are you going to punch Rick Moranis?
You got to be the worst kind of person.
You're going to make him want to go back and raise another family. Come on, the guy's had a hard enough life.
So let's see, moving on. December 17th. Why, that's one day before my birthday.
Oh no.
Spider-Man 3 tentative title.
The rumors on this could be an entire episode.
So we might do a Spider-Man 3
our what if scenario.
But obviously following up the crazy cliffhanger ending of Spider-Man Far From Home, which ended phase 3 of the MCU. Peter Parker's secret is out, and all we know about this film is that
literally everybody who's ever been in Spider-Man ever is in this movie.
It was like this domino effect. It was like, well, Jamie Foxx is back as Electro, and everyone was like, wait, what? And it's like, yeah, but he might not be the same Electro. He might just be playing Electro in a different capacity. It's like, oh, okay. It's like, oh, and Alfred Molina is back as Doc Ock.
Wait, what?
And maybe Dane DeHaan is back as Green Goblin.
Wait, what?
And maybe Kirsten Dunst is back as Mary Jane Watson.
What?
And maybe, just maybe, Tobey Maguire and Andrew Garfield are also reprising their roles as other Peter Parkers.
Spider-Men. Yeah, dude.
And maybe Charlie Cox is coming back as Daredevil.
Dude, I don't even want to get started on just
apparently,
the amount of hype
rumors.
Going around this.
I don't put much faith in rumors too often. But rumor has it that Charlie Cox has already filmed his roles as Daredevil.
I think it's. I don't know if it's as Daredevil. I think it's just as Matt Murdock for now.
Fine. Just to acknowledge that he exists in this world.
Dude, I don't know. Who knows at this point?
This is
not me.
So, and this is also, following up with WandaVision, kind of this overarching story that seems to be happening in part of the MCU of multiverse shit.
Yeah, that's the thing. It's like I'm hoping that they don't open all these portals for them to just kind of close in on Marvel as a whole and ruin everything that they've built the last 10 years.
It's all leading up to Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness.
Yeah.
So we'll have to see how this all plays out, but it's gonna be really interesting. And then I think the last film we have on the list for 2021, unless things go wrong, December 22nd, Matrix. The Matrix 4. It is directed by Lana Wachowski. We're back with Keanu as Neo, Carrie-Anne Moss as Trinity. I don't think Lawrence Fishburne is in this one, which is a little weird. You there?
Yeah, I'm thinking about it, and I'm thinking if I can see. It doesn't say Lawrence Fishburne.
They got Jada Pinkett Smith as Niobe is back. They got what's his name, Lambert Wilson as the Merovingian from Reloaded. I obviously there is no Hugo Weaving because Smith got destroyed. I'm curious, what is this movie going to be about? Because
what if it's like a retelling or like a reimagining in the modern age? Some sort of Black Mirror
I don't know. Because the whole idea is that the Matrix, it is always just repeating. It'll happen again. It's a cycle that is always happening and happening and happening. And that's why things happened in, the Matrix happened the way they did, because they had happened before. And it's just this endless cycle. And it's... I love the first Matrix. I think the first Matrix it's such a good movie, but it's so, I think, underappreciated for like how deep it actually is. I think a lot of people are just like, yeah, it's cool sci-fi action film.
Dude, what are you talking about? I took a course in college. It was called Political Film and Fiction, and my professor, who's this esteemed PhD, JD guy. That's a real great title. He talked about the importance of this film and what it illustrates to its audiences. Like it's so important talking about the relationship of, people and to society, and the role of technology, as well as just kind of the voices that we have as citizens in our world, and what we can actually how we can command ourselves in a place that, in a system where they would rather us kind of just do as we're told.
Yeah.
In a way.
Yeah. I think The Matrix is such an awesome film. I actually just recently watched, it's an older video. I think it's from like 6 months ago or something, but by the YouTube channel Sideways, he breaks down a lot of film scores, and his dissection of the Matrix score is so interesting, and you can see how much work went into that. And I think there's a lot of undercurrents in the first Matrix film that I feel at the time were unappreciated, and now with the Wachowskis both having gone through transitions, make a whole lot of sense, in retrospect. And I just think that this is a chance to make up for the second and third movie, which are not good.
Hopefully they get back on track with this one. Then,
Yeah,
I don't know what direction they can go with. I'm not as much of a fan of the other two as I am the first.
Yeah, they're there.
So we'll see. That's what I'm saying. If they try to kind of reimagine Matrix for us a little bit, that could be the best direction, rather than to continue on what they were doing.
Yeah, and I've seen like set photos. You got like Keanu. Keanu's got his John Wick look, which is top tier Keanu appearance. Long hair, beard. Awesome. That's his John Wick, or his Johnny Silverhand.
I was gonna say, what's his character's name in Cyberpunk? It's Johnny Silverhand.
Yeah. So, yeah, I guess that's 2021. Obviously, there's a bunch of shows coming out. There's obviously all of the Disney Plus shows. I don't know when Better Call Saul is coming back for its final
Succession
season.
Season 3 is coming back.
Season 3
this year.
I think at some point we're gonna get our prequel to Game of Thrones. We're gonna
House of Dragon. Oh, they casted what's his name? The Doctor Who and The Crown gentleman. Matt Smith.
Yes.
They casted him in it. I was pretty excited. I'm like, I just started watching The Crown, and great actor. Really love his role in that show.
Yep. So I'm excited. That's gonna be pretty cool. Actually, that's not coming out till next year. That's a 2022 series.
Humbug.
But this year, it's interesting. We're celebrating. This is the 10-year anniversary of Game of Thrones.
Dude.
Of the first season,
Happy anniversary to Eddard Stark.
Yeah.
He was my favorite character.
Don't party too hard, or you might lose your head.
Oh, no. Oh, I don't want to remember that.
And with that, I think it's time we wrap this party up for this week on Script or Screen.
I would agree. Thank you so much for all the lovely insight, Zachary, of these upcoming films that you and I are both excited for.
Yes.
Ladies and gentlemen, and all you lovely listeners, please Remember, if we didn't list your favorite film here, let us know. What are you excited for? We want to hear it. We want to be excited for those films too.
Why are you excited about Dune? Tell me all the things you love about Dune.
Where can they tell you, Zach? Where exactly could they, maybe leave a comment?
You could comment on our posts on social media. That's our Facebooks, our Instagrams, our Twitters. We post on YouTube and would love to have an active comment thread going there as well. You can send us messages through, through Anchor FM?
/ScriptorScreen, and on our website, www.scriptorscreen.com. Guys, if you haven't even noticed, they go to the same website.
Yeah.
And it's beautiful. It's streamlined. You can leave a message. You can leave an audio message.
It's a one-stop shop.
You can write in a message. One-stop shop. Your questions will be featured on the show. Be sure to ask them.
So, thank you all for joining us on this look ahead. We hope that most of the schedule stays the same, and we'll see you in the movies.
Bye. Have a good one.
Goodbye.